everyone. I hope you all had a great spring break. I wish we could be together so I could hear what all of you guys did over break. I hope you had a great one. We basically just hung out here, which I'm sure most of you guys did, hang out around your house, and maybe got to go out to a park or something like that. We got to explore York River State Park, so that was fun. And then we also cleared out a bunch of just stuff around our yard, did a lot of yard work. I had a little bit of an encounter with some poison sumac, so dealing with that. So if I seem a little itchy, that's probably what it is. But hopefully I will win that battle here in a little bit and get rid of the itchiness. But anyway, I hope you guys had a wonderful spring break, and it's really just hard not seeing you guys after spring break. It's always excitement to come back after spring break and seeing you guys and catching up with you all. So anyway, we get to move on to another period of history. Remember, from the fall of Rome in 476 AD to the beginning of the Renaissance was the Middle Ages, and that's where we have been basically for the last 3 chapters. And now we finally get to start the Renaissance. Okay, so we're going to look at some changes. So some big changes in thought and attitude that people had from the Middle Ages to the Renaissance. And one thing I would like you to do right now in your one of the attached sheets that I attached to this assignment is a chart. And you're going to want to pull that chart out right now because you're going to fill that in as I talk through this. So I'll try to go through it slowly, but you can always pause the video if you need to write down something after I said it, okay? So we're going to look at some changes in thought from the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. So people in the Middle Ages, one characteristic was that they were very church-focused. Remember, everything centered around the church. Their social life was centered around the church. Their education was centered around the church. Their lives were focused on being obedient to the church and what the church taught them. So that was their focus of life. In the Renaissance, it's going to start being more man-focused. They're not going to totally do away with God, but they're going to focus more on man. They're going to be more individual-focused and focus on man's accomplishments and what man can do. All right, so Middle Ages, church-focused. The Renaissance is going to be more man-focused. All right, the second thing is that during the Middle Ages, you were taught not to question what you were taught, right? You just accepted everything that you were taught. They accepted everything that the church taught them. They didn't question anything. And of course, the church abused that power, right? We talked about that, how there were a lot of abuses and a lot of corruption within the church because they had all of that power where people accepted whatever the church taught them. They didn't question it. During the Renaissance, people are going to start questioning what they're taught. Okay, they're going to start asking questions. They're going to start experimenting. They're going to start learning and researching things on their own. So during the Middle Ages, they accepted things as they were taught. Then the Renaissance, they're going to start questioning and learning and really for lack of a better term, chewing on what they were taught, what they've been told, right? Just really researching it and learning more about it versus just blindly accepting what they were taught as they did in the Middle Ages. During the Middle Ages, you're going to see man's focus was, of course, more on religious things as far as they focused most of their attention of life towards heaven, right? How they're going to get to heaven. They had to obey everything that the church taught them, right? They had to attend church. They had to do all the sacraments. They had to do that just so they could focus on the fact that they're going to be in heaven one day after this earthly life. They didn't really focus on the present because it was hard. Middle Ages, it was basically a struggle just to survive. And so life was hard. So they didn't focus on the present. They focused on the future and trying to earn their way to heaven. They didn't focus on the past because the past was just in the past. They didn't want to think about that. The present was hard. They didn't focus on the present. They focused on the future and heaven and trying to earn their way to that. In the Renaissance, man is going to start focusing on the present and enjoying the present, but they're also going to look to the past and learn from the past. Okay, they're going to look to the ancient writings of classical and Greek literature, and they're going to learn from that, and they're going to try to apply those teachings to their present life. They're not going to look so much into the future. They're going to focus on really enjoying life in the present and using things from the past to apply to life in the present. And finally, during the Middle Ages, life was focused mostly on the group. We had the church as a group, as a whole. Life was focused mainly around the church or around the guilds. Remember we talked about guilds and how they kind of protected business activities within a town. That was a group thing. And then there was also social classes, right? You had your nobility, you had your peasants, you had your middle class, of course, too. That was coming up towards the end of the Middle Ages. But a lot of focus on groups, right? And the Renaissance is going to be more focused on the individual and really seeing what you can do for yourself. Artists in the Middle Ages never signed their name to any of their work, right? They didn't want to draw any attention to themselves. It was for the whole, for the church or whatever they did their work for, which is mainly for the church. But during the Renaissance, now you're going to have artists that are actually going to sign their name to their work so they can get the glory, so they can get the recognition for accomplishing something. So you can see how the focus is more on the individual and what individual man has achieved. So those are some main differences that you're going to see between the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. The next video you're going to watch is on humanism, Renaissance humanism in particular. There's secular humanism, which we'll learn about later, which is a little bit different than Renaissance humanism. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Make sure you watch it carefully and answer the questions that are also on this document on your assignment today. All right, I hope you guys have a great day.